Hello and welcome to another episode of the UCLA Bruins Insider Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Connor Moreno, lead writer for UCLA Bruins on SI. And today we're going to go ahead and zoom through to our next game in our series where we rank UCLA's most important games of the season. Last episode, we went ahead and talked about number 6, which was Washington. That is their Week 13 matchup against the Huskies. Went ahead and talked about them just because they're kind of, I wouldn't say the easiest game, but they are probably the lesser opponent in a back half of the season schedule, which looks to be really difficult, where you have, the likes of USC, Nebraska, Indiana, Ohio State. Washington is one of those games where if UCLA is as serious a team as we think they are, then that won't even be a toss-up game. That'll be a game that they may be able to comfortably handle business on. And so today we're moving on to number 5. We are past the midway point, and I feel like this top 5, the top 5 games on UCLA's schedule, I think all should be wins. And I think that if UCLA is a serious enough team, then these top 5 games will mean a lot to them as they head into them. And so, we're going to get right into that right now. But before we do, there were some notes from camp media availability that I wanted to talk about. Most notably, just the backup quarterback battle. I haven't talked about it too much on the podcast. I've written about it quite a bunch on UCLA Bruins on SI. If you want to go ahead and check it out, you can. But it's looking like, I think, 2 names have been narrowed down for the backup quarterback role prior to yesterday, which is when Deshaun Foster had his media availability. Prior to yesterday, Deshaun Foster was kind of leaving it open to the 4 notable names on UCLA's roster, which are, Pierce Clarkson, Luke Duncan, Madden Iamaleava, and Colton Gamino. He was leaving it up to them and saying that it was still pretty open, but I think yesterday, probably through a Freudian slip, he kind of narrowed it down to 2 people, which were Pierce Clarkson and Luke Duncan. He said that both of them are taking advantage of their opportunities and are most likely going to be the last 2 names that are going to be backing up Nico Iamaleava this season. So that's all I wanted to update you on right now. But let's get into number 5, which is Week 5 against Northwestern. It was pretty hard for me to put this Northwestern matchup so high at 5. I do believe that it is one of the most important games of the year, but I think there are a couple more important conference games against slightly better opponents that UCLA needs to take a lot more serious than Northwestern. I'm not saying Northwestern is a game that you can't take serious, because it is the conference opener. It is against an opponent that is, that you're going to be favored against. I'm not saying that Northwestern is going to be some slight, matchup, but I do think that there are more important conference games on UCLA's schedule, which is what made this Northwestern game slide back a little bit. I feel like there are 2 reasons that this game is ultra important. I said it before, it opens up conference play, and I do think, as I've been saying it quite some time on all these episodes, if UCLA is what we think it is, the win against the Wildcats could mean a 4-0 start. Now, let me take you through it again. Open up the season by upsetting Utah. Handle business against UNLV the next week, and then you're going to have to beat New Mexico. Obviously, you're going to be favored against New Mexico the week after that, and then you have a bye. And then that bye, you're going into that bye 3-0, and then you're opening up conference play against the Wildcats. That's a 4-0 start. I do believe that's possible, and I also do believe if you go even further, after Northwestern, you have Penn State, which is, I think I'm going to put that as a loss in Penn. That was a pretty funny joke, but jokes aside, I'm gonna put that loss in Penn against Penn State, not just pencil. And then after that, you have Michigan State and Maryland. And I do think that there is a realistic chance that UCLA could start 6-1. I'm not going to put that 6-1 start in pen. I will put that in pencil, but I do believe that there is a realistic chance that the Bruins can start 6-1, and this Northwestern matchup is one of the most important games within that quest. Now, if Deshaun Foster and the Bruins want to set the tone going into the season, going undefeated against non-conference opponents, and then opening up conference play with a win, that is the exact way that they can do that. That 6-1 start is far-fetched. I have been saying it a lot, but I do think that if UCLA is the team that they believe they are, is the team that I think I believe they are, is the team that few people in the media and few national pundits believe they are, then 6-1 and even 4-0 is a pretty realistic start. It does start with Utah. We'll talk about them soon on the rankings, but I do think Northwestern is a very important game because not only are you going to be favored against this conference opponent, but starting conference play 1-0, potentially starting the season 4-0 or 3-1, I think are all improvements on last season, which was a 5-7 season. So, and look, if you start 4-0, you have 8 games remaining, and you just need to win 2 to eclipse last season's win total. So, yeah, I think that's very realistic. And then, so with every one of these episodes, we go ahead and preview one of UCLA's opponents, what a national analyst says about them, and today's no different. Today, again, we have Bill Connolly for ESPN. He did a preview of the entire Big Ten and pretty much the entire college football, and so let's read what he had to say about Northwestern. Over the past 10 years, Northwestern ranked in the defensive SP Plus top 25 7 times and went 54-33 in those seasons. In the other 3, they went 8-28. They haven't had a truly poor defense in ages, but when you haven't had a top 80 offense since 2018, success is all on the defense. Utilizing the portal at a tough admissions school is always going to be tricky, but Braun landed upgrades for at least 4 offensive positions: quarterback from SMU, a quarterback, Preston Stone from SMU, a receiver in Griffin Wild, a tackle in Liberty Xavier Gray, and a guard in Evan Bernstein from South Dakota State. Well, Stone will be an upgrade as long as he rediscovers his 2023 form. He threw for 3,197 yards with a 28-6 touchdown to interception ratio that year, but struggled early in 2024 and was benched for Kevin Jennings. He's an interesting combination of aggressive and safe, but he can be inefficient. If the line improves, running backs Cam Porter and Joseph Hyman II could at least keep Stone in favorable downs and distances. And hey, the bar couldn't be lower. Pilot a top 75 offense and you'll look like a savior. The Wildcats slipped to 51st in defensive SP Plus last season, though that includes some pretty demoralizing late season results. They still started and ended drives well, and they'll have some proven entities in linebacker Mac Ulian and Aiden Hubbard and tackle Najee Story. The portal brought the likes of linebacker Jack Sadowski, the 5th, and a well-traveled corner, Fred Davis. If Northwestern's success is again dependent on having a top 20 defense, disappointment probably awaits, but if the O genuinely improves, then the D has to be only top 40 or so. The Wildcats could surprise. Either way, facing Oregon, Penn State, Michigan, and Illinois will make reaching 6 wins awfully difficult. So it's going to be a difficult season for Northwestern, but although they are ranked below UCLA in various Big Ten power rankings, I don't think the Bruins can take them lightly at all, especially if their defense can reach back to that status that it once was. So again, this is a very important game for many of the reasons that we detailed. And again, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll have you back tomorrow with the 4th most important game of UCLA's season. We'll see you tomorrow.